Welcome to Scaling Secrets. I'm here with my boy Greg Grzesiak. This guy represents some of the biggest names in crypto YouTube. And I don't know if you're like me, for those listeners who have been following crypto YouTube pretty closely for the past 3 years, some of us made a lot of money, some of us lost a lot of money. A lot of the guys you were watching are probably represented by my man Greg here. Some names like BitBoy Crypto, like Altcoin Daily, some of the biggest channels on YouTube that are talking crypto. That is this guy, his partner. So I'm super excited to have you on the show, honored and pumped to talk about one, crypto YouTube, two, the landscape of influencer marketing for financial experts and crypto experts, because there's been a lot of controversy. So I'm really excited to dive into some of that. And hopefully I get to learn some tips as a YouTuber to figure out how to get these big brand deals. And one you were telling me about just prior to starting this episode is worth $20 million over 15 years. We won't dive into the details of that, but I'm super excited to pick your brain. So Greg, thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jay. This is cool. And I love how you have guests on and you like look to their expertise, but like looking around this place, it's clear that you're the expert.
Hey,
so.
We've all got our expertise. You know a lot of things that I don't, and I'm sure I've got some knowledge that I could share with you as well. So I hope we can continue to be mentors to one another in one way or another. And that's what the beauty of these podcasts and friendships and networking, right?
Awesome, man. Yeah.
And I'm super impressed with the list of clients that you've amassed, kind of the empire that you've built in this crypto YouTube space. Yeah. I mean, these are the biggest names in crypto YouTube. So how did you land the whales, the BitBoy Crypto? That's the whale of all whales in the space. Yeah. Why do they trust you?
Yeah, I love that word, trust.
Yeah.
Because that, I think, is at the crux of any business that you're running. If you can't build trust and foster relationships, you're not going to go very far. You might have short-term growth, but long-term sustainability is all built on trust.
Yes.
So I think coming into that with some of a ministry background, a little back up real quick. I worked in ministry for like 10 years. And when I got out into the marketplace, I had no idea what I was going to do. But there were some founding principles that I was raised with in my 20s and adolescent years that I think gave me a heads up, or maybe like I don't know. I probably like 2 or 3 steps ahead of people. I didn't have the network yet, but I had certain guiding characteristics that I felt were important to me.
Yes.
That I carried into my business, not knowing what it was yet, that actually led me to where I am today. So building the trust with these guys was not easy, and it took years. And it actually started with providing value. So, I got into a crypto YouTube channel 3 years ago representing a guy who had 30,000 subs. Yeah. And my whole job was to connect him to other YouTubers to help siphon off audiences. So that's what I did. I started meeting other crypto YouTubers, virtually door knocking, asking, hey, would you like to come on this YouTube channel? And as that started happening and we started landing interviews, we saw the subscriber count grow. And then they said, great, Greg, now we want you to monetize it. I had no idea what that meant.
Right.
What do you mean monetize it? We want to find brand aligned sponsors and affiliates to come on and actually put money into this channel. I said, okay, so I'm looking for crypto-oriented brands? Like, yeah, crypto-oriented brands. I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
I barely knew what crypto was at this point. So I started researching crypto-oriented brands, and I started learning that these brands were really eager to get in front of a specific demographic like this, like the YouTuber had, because there are no commercials really outside of the ones we see for like the Super Bowl for crypto. There's no educational channels for crypto. YouTube is it.
Yes.
So I realized that I'm working at the ABC of crypto, right? And so now I start meeting these big brand name companies who are so willing to just pay for these promotions. And that's when I realized I didn't need to be working for one channel. I needed to be working for all of them.
Yeah, and that business stacks up on one another after every single deal, because now you have a relationship with a company that wants to get their word out there. And by the way, I also have this product, and this product, the products being the influencers, the YouTubers that you represent, where we can get your company exposure.
That was the question, actually. So when I originally was reaching out to them about this one channel, they're like, what other channels do you have? I was like, I don't have any other channels. They were like, oh, well, let us know if you do. I was like, oh my gosh.
Gotta go find some channels.
I gotta go find some channels, exactly. So it was, the networking prior that gave me the idea, okay, I can still reach out to these people and see if they need representation. And as I started reaching out, they were kind of more or less like, yeah, we've heard this pitch before.
Right.
But I think this is a principle in business that I think a lot of young people need to realize that they don't practice now. And I'm not trying to speak as the wise sage. I'm only 33. But I've seen too many people walk through the front door of a business and go, hey, if you pay me X amount of dollars, guess what? I'm going to give you X amount of output. And this is going to be great for you. Why don't you sign me today? And it's like, dude, everybody hears that pitch. Pay me before you provide value. But if you can be the type of person who's willing to provide value before you get paid, I guarantee you're going to catch that person's attention and they're going to want you on the team because you didn't ask for anything in return. And so that's what I did. I started bringing these channels. I said, hey, look, you don't have to be in business with me, but let me bring you a deal. And if I bring you a deal, will you at least have a conversation with me about, me representing you? And so that's exactly what I did is I started going to the big hitters. And I said, look, I've got companies that I've been connected to. I've been doing a lot of research and I want to bring them to your doorstep. Will you give me a shot? They said, if you bring us a deal, yeah. So that's exactly what I did. I worked for months trying to get these deals underway. And when I finally completed them, I had, arms wide open invitation to come in and represent these brands. And I've been doing that for a couple of years now. And it's turned out to be a really cool thing. I'm enjoying it.
That's such a great approach. And I'm glad you gave an example for the value that you provided. So a lot of people will preach, don't go trying to sell. You have to provide value first. And then that ends up with me getting DMs from a bunch of young entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like, let me come work for you for free. Let me provide value. What do you need?
Yeah.
And then that puts the onus on me to
Yes.
be like, oh crap, like I got to come up with some work for this guy or figure out how he's going to provide value. I got to coach him. That's more work for me that I don't need and don't want. You didn't do that. You went to these influencers with, here's the value that I'm going to provide. I'm going to bring this specific thing to you. It was valuable to them. Obviously, it's a brand deal. It makes them money.
Yep.
You didn't go asking them, what do you need? Let me help. Let me work for you. What do you want me to do? Because that's work for them.
Yeah.
Super powerful. I do want to kind of roll back. There's a couple things you said that I want to poke into.
Okay.
The first, siphoning followers from other YouTube accounts.
Yeah.
By cross-promoting on the different YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm.
That's super interesting for me as a YouTuber. How do you do that? How do you siphon followers from other YouTubers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I'm going to give a couple of nuances to how you can grow your YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel right now and you're looking to grow it, I'm just going to give you a few key points, simple things that you can do to siphon off audience. So the first and best way to siphon off audiences from other channels is to clearly just get on their channel and get them on yours, because their followers will follow them on your channel if you can get them to come on for an interview. So like I said, providing value first is the key to any relationship if you want to start it. So if you're a YouTuber, go after somebody you really have been wanting to have on your channel. They could be big, it doesn't matter. Go after them and say, man, you are on my laminated list of people that I would love to have on for an interview. Do you have any time in the next quarter that you can spare for 30 minutes? I'd love to do a pre-recorded interview with you. If you can get one of those interviews, the people that follow that specific person on YouTube will come over. It's not in masses, but they will come over and they will watch you because they're on there. And you will get that like and subscribe because you were hosting someone that they appreciated, that speaks into their life, that educates them on that specific subject that they're interested in. So siphoning off audiences through cross-collaborative interviews, call it cross-pollination. And the other thing is building CTR, click-through rate. If you're going to build your click-through rate on YouTube, the simplest way to do that is to bring your titling characters between 60 and 91 characters. Anybody who does less than that, the sentence is completed for you and there's no curiosity. The subconsciousness doesn't click on that link because they've read the title already. But if the ... is exposed, they subconsciously tell themselves, what does that say? You get them leaning in a little bit. So start creating titles that have longer versions than 60 characters, and that ... will appear, and you're going to get an automatic 200% click-through rate. Your duration of video viewed is also affected by this as well, because the first 30 seconds, if you have something that's promised in the beginning, the Mr. Beast method, if you have something that's promised in the beginning and it's actually executed on within the first 30 seconds, you've got them. So building duration of video viewed and CTR is as simple as having the right titling length and also using keywords that are trending that are capitalized in those titles. So right now, there's like one little thing you can start doing as a YouTuber to literally build your sub count. Start making your titles longer. Start actually drawing people in through the subconscious click-through rate that has been produced through the ...
Super interesting. Thank you for sharing that. It's actually contrary to one thing that I heard, which is it needs to be under 60 characters or else it's going to get cut off.
Yeah.
But your way actually makes a lot of sense. I guess as long as that ... in a decent spot, that does spark that curiosity. I'm going to do some split testing. Thank you for sharing that bit of wisdom with me.
Yeah, dude. I've literally seen channels with 1 million plus subscribers practice that, and they've gone up 2% in their click-through rate. And to 1 million people, that's 20,000 clicks. I mean, it's worth money.
Now let me ask you a question. Say you're Joe Rogan, and I convince you to come on this podcast with me, the podcast we're on right now. Obviously, he carries a massive audience. We do the show. I'm like, cool, Joe, show's live. It's on YouTube. Here's the link. And he doesn't promote that link. He's not posting it on his channel. Are his followers, his subscribers, his fans still going to find that content and come over to my channel? How are they going to know that even exists? Is there anything that I can do as a creator to get them over if that creator doesn't publish my interview on their channel?
If they don't publish your interview on their channel, if there's any other platform, any other social media platform that they have where there can be some kind of acknowledgement of that recording, that would be the only way, because otherwise it's incognito in disguise. You can promote it yourself. You could even run paid ads to try and promote it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're the ones with all of the sub power. So you are at the mercy of the person who you're partnering with to actually somewhat promote it. Otherwise, it is difficult to get that sub count up. That's actually a very good question.
Yeah. So in a perfect world, would I record that video, get it edited for him, and then send it off to Joe and said, hey, Joe, it's all finished. Go ahead and publish this on your channel.
Yeah.
Or do we both publish it? What's the move?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah. I've never even actually thought about, I feel like I've always let the influencer and their connection to that person after the interview establish
Figure
that.
out their own way of handling it.
I'm kind of like the guy who introduces them at the door, and I'm like, okay, this is good. Great. You two have fun. And I'm going off to do the next thing. So I actually don't know the answer to that question.
And the answer is probably that it takes so many forms depending on who the influencers are, how they negotiate what their relationship is.
Yeah.
But I've used collaboration. Obviously, we're collaborating right now. I'm sure you're going to push this on your Instagram and whatnot.
Yeah, my 1,300 followers. It's going to be huge.
Micro influencers are in, bro.
Oh, for sure, dude. That's what I tell myself when I wake up. So
let's chat a little bit about the influencer marketing aspect of what you do. And what you mentioned to me, and for anyone who here is interested in influencer marketing, I want you to think about this because it's not easy. Yeah. The influencer is your product, essentially, right? You need to go find the customer, which is the brand. So you need to market to them. You need to message them, and you need to sell that product. And just like any other business, you've got the product, you've got the customer, you've got the marketing, and you kind of have to coordinate all of those things. You need to figure out how to get in touch with them, figure out what message is going to resonate, what value that you're going to create. And I guess in this case, you've got two customers, right? You're providing value to the influencer and you're providing value to the company. So you're almost like selling your product too, which is an interesting thing with influencer marketing. But there's a lot of moving pieces. How long did it take you to be able to really make those things align where you had a good product, like a good influencer, and you knew how to find and reach a company? Yeah. And what are some of those steps involved in executing a successful collaboration partnership?
Yeah. Well, I would say, as the influencer is my client, and then the brand becomes my client as well in a way.
Yes.
First, you got to understand what your client needs, which is very obvious, I feel. What are some of the non-negotiables for my influencer? What will they not take as a brand or a product or a service or a platform that they're not going to promote? That way, I make sure I remove all of the fat from my my lean, sales navigation that I'm trying to complete. Like, okay, where am I going? What companies, what brands am I going after? Know what they don't want. And then when you find out some of the things that they do want or things that they would be willing to partner with, then it's about having knowledge of crypto and knowing some of the utility that is offered in the space for things like exchanges or wallets or, it could be anything. There's so many different things building on the blockchain. So really understanding blockchain has a lot to do with that, which I've been able to develop over the years. But then it's also understanding the client who's paying for the marketing, understanding, are they looking for an ROI or are they looking for a branding opportunity or are they looking for both? If you don't understand, if a company's like, hey, we're in brand awareness mode, like ROI is not a big deal, making sure that you don't overpromise and underdeliver. You can deliver on branding because if you have a channel that's large enough, you can let them know, hey, based on the YouTube analytics, I love YouTube analytics, by the way. mean, it literally is just built-in sales model for you if you want to actually
Right.
pitch numbers to people. So anytime people are like, give me numbers, I'm like, great. Here's the YouTube analytics page that records everything for me. This is what they're doing. If they're trying to build brand awareness and I'm aware of that, I'll say, great, here's the numbers. If this is good with you, you're probably going to hit X amount of views every single month, with a specific type of media package that we're offering. So this comes with a certain amount of verbal mentions during live streams. This comes with, a certain amount of pre-recorded videos that are reviewing the product or the service. It could be a number of things. It could even be cross-mentioning on like Twitter and other platforms that the influencer has. But knowing if they want the brand awareness versus the ROI makes it very clear for me how I'm supposed to bridge them to the influencer and what we're going to do. If it's brand awareness, it's really just about showing them the data. If they're interested enough, they're going to get eyeballs on them. But if it's about ROI, then that's a whole nother beast. You got to actually measure how your promotions are performing based on click-through rate, and then actually match up the dollar amount, right, to what they've produced in previous sales to the sale that you're trying to make for the client that's going to pay for the promotion. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It's crazy. They make you in charge of calculating the ROI. Yep. That's very hard to do, especially in products that aren't very commercial. You can't just go on a website and buy something. It can be very difficult to find that number.
Yeah, when I'm doing a deal, like when I'm doing a large scale deal for these YouTubers, I literally feel like I'm spinning 4 plates. I'm like making sure the YouTuber knows like what it is they're offering and then what they're willing to offer in promotion. And then I'm getting all the data to make sure there's a presentation. And then I'm like, I'm working with them on the numbers and whether or not it's actually affordable. Do they have a budget for this? And then sometimes there's an offer that they like it and they don't like it. Then I got to go back and forth. I'm like, it'd be better for them to just get on the phone with each other. But I guess that's why I exist.
The value.
That's why I exist.
Always time. Yeah. Sitting there on the phone trying to negotiate with companies
all day.
Calculate ROI.
And I'm at the point now where I don't really do any proactive sales. They come to me because they know I represent them, and now it's all negotiation. So I'm on the phone 6 hours a day negotiating different contracts.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. You've hit that critical mass where you don't need to market anymore. They're coming to you because they know the value that you already offer. They know your product. They want your product.
Yep. That's
a huge point to be at. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I don't really know how to scale though, so maybe I can talk to Otter about that.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about scaling. Now, as influencer marketing, let's talk a little bit about some of the deliverables that the influencers typically do for the company. From my time consuming as a YouTube consumer as well as a YouTuber, I see, the ads that they're placing in between their videos, some of the links in their description. What does a typical one of these deals look like? Is there a time frame? Is it a single post?
Yeah.
What are the deliverables within that deal?
These deals there's such a wide range of deliverables. I mean, literally, bro, it could be literally from 1 mention a month to 17 mentions a month and, recorded videos and cross-pollination on different social media platforms. And, the price can go anywhere from $1,700 to $20 million, like they range all over the place. It just depends on the budget and what they're actually looking for. And it depends on the size of the YouTuber.
Right.
My 250,000 YouTuber is going to make okay money, but they're not going to make anywhere near what another YouTuber at 1.45 million is going to make. So
yeah, makes
huge
a lot
chasm
of sense.
there. Huge chasm.
You mentioned before the episode a really innovative way for finding companies that you thought might be receptive to a pitch of influencer marketing. What's your method for finding and connecting with these companies?
Yeah. So Mark Cuban told me this. I was backstage with him at Bitcoin 2022, which quick shill for Bitcoin 2023 in Miami next week. I'll be there with all of the influencers. It's going to be a really fun time. And a lot of these, big financial titans are going to be there. He said something to me. I'll never forget it. He said, Greg, there's 3 I's in the crypto industry. There's innovators, there's imitators, and there's idiots. And I was like, okay. He says, the innovators are the ones that are building on the blockchain, and fist over keyboard are the smartest people in the room. The imitators are the one who are actually able to work with those innovators and help build those projects, but they have no knowledge of the development side of things. So I'm very much an imitator. I'm like in the middle of the ground. The idiots are obvious. They're just people who are promoting meme coins and saying, invest in this poo coin today. It's like, it's nonsense. They call them degens. And so, yeah, out of those 3 I's, what I realized is the the innovators are the ones I need to go after. So these are people building on the blockchain that are starting credible. I mean, there's an old meme that says blockchain companies are solving problems that the world doesn't have. So 99% of these blockchain companies aren't even going to exist. And I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But if you have an eye and you recognize true innovation on the blockchain, which I don't have all of that. I'm actually consulting with some of these YouTubers who do have that eye because they spend their life in the space. I have targeted the largest blockchain companies that have gone through a round of funding in the last 3 months every quarter. And they've gone through a Series A or a Series C, or they've gone through crowdfunding. And I locate the ones that have, fundraised $5 million, $20 million. And those are the companies that I go after. I say, hey, out of the $5 million you raised, or out of the $20 million you raised, I'm sure there's a marketing budget in there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So I say, hey, could I help curate? You don't have a stand-in CMO at this time. They're so young that they need to hire one. It's like, could I be like your stand-in CMO, help you get started and create some noise and brand awareness around your blockchain project? And 9 times out of 10, they say, that's a bad statistics, but it's a saying. Most of the time, they say yes. And I'm just waiting for someone to say no at this point.
Right. And when you're going in for that initial ask, do you use any of the leverage of like the big names that you work with?
Yeah.
And of course, these companies know who these names are.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that 9 out of 10 say yes.
Yeah.
Probably 10 out of 10 are interested, or you have the wrong email or something crazy like that.
Well, with this influencing marketing thing, it's actually branched me out into a lot of different notable names that I'm starting to represent. So like I just got off a call with Gary Cardone, and he needs representation. He's got a PR team, but he doesn't have anybody because he has this new project called Node 40, and it's basically software for CPAs to basically organize all of the digital transactions that people are making. Because people who are traders in the digital world, dude, they make thousands of transactions a month. And CPAs don't want to go there and filter through things. So he's like, look, I want to get into the crypto space. I want to start doing a circuit on all these channels. I said, great, let me represent you. And he's like, you're the guy. So, I'm being introduced to people outside of crypto now that are like, I want to get in crypto, because like 3% of my portfolio is in crypto. Why don't you get me in? So that business is expanding. So it's like, once you get a solid network, there's really nothing that can stop you. If you're exercising it right, you're building trust and you're providing value, you just got to build that network.
Let's talk for a minute and transition into some of the darker stuff surrounding crypto YouTubers, crypto influencing. It's the big elephant right now. FTX went under, and they're actually now coming after a lot of these influencers for endorsing FTX and a lot of these financial institutions that obviously the influencers didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. They weren't in the ledgers. But at the same time, maybe they hold some responsibility. Maybe they don't. I'd love to hear your opinion. Yeah. Is that a consideration nowadays when you're looking at these partnerships? What is the mentality right now with these influencers and with the partnerships that you're setting up?
Most influencers will have someone vetting those projects. And if they're credible, then they'll give a thumbs up to it. But yeah, in the past, there have been a lot of projects that have been very shady, and not having that vetting system for a lot of these influencers has turned out to be have a negative impact on their channel. And so there's a lot more precaution being taken now.
100%. I'm sure it's on all of their radars now, right? We got to be extra careful because of FTX, and this guy got slapped on the wrist. Yeah. And I'm sure there's precautions, but again, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes of somebody's company. What are some of the transparency steps that the influencers take? Are there disclaimers? Do they say anything verbally when they endorse the companies? What are some of these things that they're doing to mitigate their risk?
Yeah, influencers usually by law will let people know that they're being sponsored by a specific product or service. And I think that just builds transparency with the audience. Like, hey, I am making money off of this.
Yes.
I think there's a difference. If you're making money off of a promotion, that's not as big a deal because you're trying to keep the lights on. And usually if you practice good business sense, you'll reinvest, right? You'll reinvest into the company, into the channel. But when you're making money off of your people, that's a little different.
Right.
That's when it starts to get shady.
We're talking about like Logan Paul and CryptoZoo. What do you mean by making money off of your audience?
Well, like you can make money off of reselling products as an affiliate, right? Like you can.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I do it.
Yeah, you're providing a value. You're providing a service, and they want that service, and you were the one who presented it to them. So there's no problem.
As long as you're not slinging shit.
Exactly.
Okay. But
shit does get slung.
Yeah, right. I think I Found Voyager from one of these influencers. I signed up for Voyager, put a bunch of money in it, and everyone knows what happened to Voyager. It's bankrupt. I'm out quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And it's not the influencer's fault. I don't blame the influencer. They didn't know. I met the CEO at Bitcoin 2021 or something. It seemed like a good operation from the outside. And it's probably nobody's fault. I don't think he was thieving. I don't think he was stealing anyone's money. I think the crypto industry took a dump. And a lot of these companies didn't survive because of various practices and whatnot.
They were leveraged. I mean,
yeah.
I just think people don't know enough about the space yet because we're so young.
Right.
I mean, think Bitcoin's 13, 14 years old almost. Like, that's really young for a new financial system. I mean, think about the stock market. $60 trillion is in the stock market right now. It's assumed that the crypto market will be the 12th sector of the S&P 500, meaning that it'll be worth anywhere between 11 and $15 trillion in the next 40 years. So there's a lot of maturing that needs to happen and a lot of volatility that we'll need to go through until we actually find something suitable for Bitcoin to actually have a storehouse of value use in our everyday spending.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I love to talk about crypto. Let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Over the past 2 years, I watched one of my friends go from $150 million in Luna coin to now he's working again.
Oh my God.
We had almost 90% of our clients at one point were crypto companies, down to 10% now. Because so many of them, I think, got weeded out by the crypto crashes and volatility.
Yeah.
I myself have lost a lot of money in crypto. I'm one of the idiots that you mentioned earlier. I didn't pump any shit coins or anything like that, but I did pump an NFT once. They gave me a free Dr. NFT, and that was fun. So what do you see crypto doing? Do you think it's going to survive this? I know you think it's going to be the 12th sector.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think it has to be. I don't know what's going to survive, how it's going to survive, or what it's going to look like at the end of this. Yeah. So let's hear your perspective. What do you think crypto's going to look like 10 years from now?
Yeah. Great resource, the Bitcoin Standard. If you're interested in learning more about, like the blockchain, then I think this will help clear up why I feel so bullish about this. But I'm not here to be a crypto bro. I'm just here to tell you, like, there is a system that we are currently operating. If you understand the way the financial system works with central banks, you understand that your money is an idea. Like, your money is controlled and your money is actually being used in the bank right now where you've stored it to be leveraged for other things. And so the truth of the matter is that whatever digits are appearing in your bank account right now, there's a worth there. But the reality is that that money isn't like sitting there. It's being used for other reasons by the banks. And so there's a centralized power to banking where that money will be relocated and used for different reasons. And there's not a lot of transparency with what's happening with your money that gets placed in a bank.
But insured by the FDIC up to 250 grand.
Sure, because you can just print more money.
Right.
So like at the cost of hyperinflation, sure, yeah, you're covered. But is that a reasonable system for the entire country to be running off of? Like, should we really be putting our hope in a system that is centralizing a power that is not actually being transparent with the way money is spent? Like, how much money is actually by our government going to taxes? I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't have the answers to that. And I don't see or feel a lot of transparency. What the blockchain does is it actually provides that transparency. It's a peer-to-peer monetary system that actually provides a legible service. So you can see where every single transaction that's ever sent in the world to any wallet in the world, instantaneously where it's sent, it is recorded. So there's nothing but transparency, and it's completely peer-to-peer, removing a centralized power. So to me, the decentralized system it's the writing's on the wall. I think it's coming. I just think, Rome didn't fall in a day. It takes time for people to wake up and smell the centralized coffee. Like, they're going to see that the way money is being dealt with right now is we're fools.
No, I agree. And I think you're right. It's coming. The train is moving and we need to figure it out. Yeah. And I think they're trying to. They're experimenting with like government decentralized currency. I don't know. I guess it can't call it decentralized if it's government, but government funded
Yeah, just be a centralized coin,
coins,
Yeah.
right? To speed
which
up.
gives them even more authority if you realize that. Because with cash, there's a way to go underneath the table. They start creating a currency for the US government. Now it's legible, it's on the blockchain, it's fully trackable. There's no way you can get anything. I mean, actually going digital on the blockchain for a US centralized currency, game over. Now they have full control.
Yeah, and some people argue that's
Shut off your
fine if
account
they're
in a
not
moment's
doing
notice.
anything wrong, but it's definitely scary for some people. I mean, you see Andrew Tate was cut off from all his bank accounts.
Yeah.
All the Russian money went to zero when our war started. So for a lot of people, that's really concerning.
Yeah.
I can see why they'd be terrified of a government controlling all of their digital currency and getting rid of cash completely, because then they can just shut it off on you.
Yeah.
For majority of people, majority of purposes, and tracking purposes, I mean, you could argue that there's some utility for them being able to track where all your digital money is going to, so that they can tax you accordingly.
Yeah.
As somebody who doesn't like to be taxed and doesn't like to be tracked and followed, I actually tend to agree with you, and I would prefer they didn't know where any of my money was.
Yeah. Did you report your crypto taxes?
Yeah,
Did you?
I did. There's a crypto filing program that logged into all my crypto stuff and gave my accountant a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I did report it.
Okay.
Most of them were losses that I'll be taking somewhere in the future against my gains.
Yep.
But yeah, I did report it, and I think they recently put the checkmark box on. Or did you have any like crypto transactions to report?
Yep.
Did you?
Well, I can neither disclose. I plead the fifth.
And for a lot of people, you know, they keep their Bitcoin in hot wallets, and you're just transacting with people and all of that stuff. I mean, there's no way to track it. And that's a beautiful thing for people who want to live kind of off grid between countries. And I think people should have that power.
Yeah. Well, they technically they can fly under the radar, but the blockchain is still there. So, I mean,
But you can't tie a wallet to a person, right?
well, you can tie a wallet to an identity if they've you can tie. Well, actually, no, you
'Cause
can't.
all these Bitcoin thieves that are having people send $30 million
Oh,
of
right.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. They're taking wallet addresses and having them send it over. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't tie an identity to it, but that's actually, and we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but that's a Cardano blockchain thing. Like the Cardano ecosystem is actually providing identities to 5 million Ethiopians in schools right now. And they're actually conducting a small range voting system in Wyoming to basically put voting on the blockchain so that it's fully legible. So we won't have any voters fraud. You know, like the blockchain would solve that problem easy if we started actually putting identifications in the blockchain. I think that's the next step.
There's so many cool utilities for the blockchain, and I know they're going to figure out to make it work one way or another, whether it's a government coin or we finally get some regulation behind Bitcoin. I'm excited to see where it all goes.
We may or may not be alive. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Could happen.
Steelman the argument against crypto. If you were to reverse roles, look at it from an anti-crypto perspective, what are some of its weaknesses? Why should we not allow crypto to have its day?
Cryptocurrency is a very hard thing to understand when you don't recognize utility. So like if you just think that cryptocurrency, so like, okay, if I was going to sway you from cryptocurrency, I would say it's volatile. You're going to lose money because of the volatility. And these coins don't mean anything. They're just ideas when in fact they're actually software. But that would be the assumption for people would be, yeah, crypto's not real. It's just an idea. Like you've just created a coin and people have decided that it's going to be valuable. So that's why it's valuable, but it's actually not. So I think from face value, that would be the thing. It's volatile. You can lose your money and it doesn't have any real world value. So what is it backed by? Yeah. What is the US dollar backed by? Sorry. I can't not go the other way. I'm a crypto bro. Dang it.
It's hardcore. It's okay. So with that being said, what are some projects that you're excited for? Obviously the main ones that I know a decent amount about: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano a little bit.
Oh yeah.
What are some projects that you think are going to survive, that are ones that will make it through all of this volatility and turmoil and become real important parts of our life?
Yeah, all the top 10 layer ones are great.
Name them.
Well, I don't know all of them, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP. Polygon, Matic. I think Dogecoin is in there. I don't know. Maybe that'll be the currency of Twitter one day.
As long as
Shout
Elon
out to
keeps
Elon.
pumping it.
What?
So as long as Elon keeps talking about it, it's not going anywhere.
Every time the dude mentions it, it pumps 20%. Silly. That literally, so there's like community-driven coins. Shows you the power of the community. But the top 10, you know, if you're just DCAing, dollar cost averaging,
Yeah.
if you're doing that on a monthly basis, you're not going to lose because there's something called the Bitcoin halving cycle that takes place every 4 years. And it basically means that the demand for Bitcoin is going to go up and all ships rise as Bitcoin rises. So
For first-time crypto investors out there, people who are wanting to get into it right now, what should their investing strategy be? Is there a specific coin that you think they should invest in? Is there a specific ecosystem that you like? What do you suggest for the first-time crypto investor? And who do they listen to?
yeah, so I would definitely listen to the altcoin dailies around the blockchain, which is under BitBoy Crypto's channel. It's a lot of different influencers that come together and do a panel-like discussion. I really like Wendy O. She's a female voice, and you know, it's lots of diversity there, and she has really cool ideas and thoughts about crypto. Get educated. That would be the first thing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Cryptos R Us as well. Forgot. George from Cryptos R Us. He's really good. Get educated in crypto, and then have two different types of portfolios. Have an investment portfolio and have a trading portfolio, because you're going to get really upset that you're only investing in long term in something that, you know, pumps or falls very dramatically. Because then, you know, your mindset when you're having a trading and investment portfolio is that when you trade, you can have the short-term gains that you want in certain things that you're bullish on. And that gives you some of the satisfaction of being in the market. But your investment portfolio is kind of like I don't care whether this goes up or down. I'm just going to continue to, you know, it's my fundamental belief that this is going to succeed because I've done enough research on it that, you know, this will be my retirement one day. So get educated, have an investment portfolio, have a trading portfolio, and that's it.
Where do you buy the coins? Do you believe in
Cold storage.
Where?
So there's exchanges and cold storage. There's two ways to get crypto.
Cold storage.
Yeah.
Tell us about those.
Yeah. So make sure when you're buying crypto off exchanges that they're actually transparent about their holdings, because if they're not one-to-one in their liquidity and their ability to like allow you to take your money,
then you get an FTX or a Voyager.
Exactly. So you got a bunch of people who've lost their money and they're like, I need to pull my money out. And they're like, we don't have any money left because we leveraged that money that you initially put in. That's what happened with FTX.
So Greg, what the hell exchange we're supposed to use?
So right now, I mean, exchanges aren't the safest option, but the ones that I use that I'm currently trading on that are the most reliable, I would say the Coinbases, the
Old Faithful,
MetaMasks, the KuCoins, the, you know, Pionex is pretty good. You know, Bybit, you can look at those, but if you're a starter, go to Coinbase. You're going to be fine. They have an insured policy up to pay $29 a month for Coinbase One. You get $1 million covered, you know, if you lose it.
Yeah. I wish
Simple
I would have
insurance.
followed that advice a couple of years ago. What about cold storage? Is that something you think everybody should have? Do you have cold storage?
Yeah, of course I do.
And that's just like a USB stick where you keep your wallet address. What's a cold storage?
Yeah, the USB stick, as you would call it, basically stores your crypto, and you can do it from, you know, specific platforms. Like if I wanted to take my Cardano that I own off of an exchange, and I wanted it to be held off of an exchange, and the saying is not your keys, not your crypto. So your cold storage is your key to your crypto. So if you have it on an exchange, it's actually not your crypto. You're actually buying it from the exchange and they're still holding it for you. So if something happens to that exchange and it goes under, what happens to your crypto? The cold storage basically says, I'm holding my own crypto, and when I want to actually retrieve it off of the blockchain, then I can do that by putting my USB into my computer. I'm logging onto the platform like Deadless to get my Cardano off, and then I'm actually putting it on or taking it off, and I have full jurisdiction. No one can touch that crypto unless they have my seed phrase.
This is why it's so cool. It's like burying buckets of cash under your bed, except it fits in your pocket and you can take it on an airplane.
Yep.
Can't do that with cash. Can't do that with gold.
Nope. And it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. It's lightning speed.
I'd be terrified too if I was the government that people could do that now.
I mean, people are going to knock on crypto all day, but when Bitcoin's at $1 million plus.
Yeah, I could put $1 billion in my pocket and get on an airplane.
That's nuts, bro.
Isn't that crazy?
You're your own bank.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Greg, advice for crypto influencers, crypto YouTubers out there. What should they do to grow their audience and to find great partnerships?
Get some good representation.
Wherever could they find good representation?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jay. No, honestly, I would say be consistent. I mean, I'm not like I love Mr. Beast. Like, I'm such a fan. Obviously, he's he's got the philanthropy thing going, but like
hearing blindness and deafness.
Dude,
what an asshole.
You seen that? Yeah, have you seen that video? It's like hard not to cry. So Mr. Beast, like his mindset is you can't match it. Like the dude is so consistent.
Yeah.
So consistent. So I would say go watch Mr. Beast. Like go see what he does. Like follow him. You can even look up some of the things he's talked about. I would just listen to that guy. But truthfully, if you're consistent and you're posting a lot, I think you're going to make it. You just got to stay at it. Keep coming up with content. And don't forget why you got in it. You might get tired. Some of you out there right now are listening. You're like, I'm so tired. I don't want to post anymore. Keep posting.
Yeah.
Keep posting and you will grow. You just got to stay consistent. Your audience is there. They just haven't found you yet.
How long does it take?
In a crypto bull market, it's different than
for 9 years and I have 3 followers.
Maybe don't post anymore. Maybe just move on. Because
Yeah.
like you can get your aunt, your uncle, and your grandma to follow you, and like you could double up your subs count.
My mom likes all my videos.
Not a very good salesman. No, but I would say if you're not growing a lot, find someone who has, or at least is in front of you, and learn and tether yourself to them. And don't be afraid to ask. So many of you don't ask and don't have, and it's so sad. Like all you have to do is ask. You're literally preventing yourself from having opportunities with other influencers and collaborating with them because you're already answering for them. You're saying, they wouldn't do it. Just ask. The worst thing they're going to say is no or not respond. But if they say yes, you have a partnership there that could actually bring you a lot further than you're at right now. So
100%. I've found my fair share of YouTube mentors, and I highly recommend anybody interested in growing on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok goes and finds someone in your niche that's already doing it. Maybe not the biggest guy because he's probably not going to answer, but someone who's a couple steps ahead of you. They're going to be more than willing to give back.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, this has been an absolute blast. Where can people reach you?
I mean, you could follow me on Instagram, Gregory Grzesiak. I mean, I'm not like, I gotta be honest with you. I represent the biggest influencers in crypto. I'm not on social media. I don't do it. I don't get that world, even though I'm in that world. I've never enjoyed flexing, if that's what the kids call it these days.
Yeah, it's a whole job to maintain. You've got a job that you're doing pretty good at.
I'd rather fly under the radar. So you can just listen to this podcast and hopefully it was good for you. So.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.